Prometheus. The earth was young when Prometheus, the clever Titan, created all the living creatures from a mixture of earth and water. From his imagination, he fashioned birds for the air, fish for the sea, and animals for the land. However, from the image of the immortal gods, he fashioned man. Gentle Epimetheus observed his brother's creativity and activity with amazement and with envy. He also wanted to have some part in the creative process, so he pleaded with Prometheus to let him do something for each living creature. Because Prometheus loved his gentle brother, he decided to let him distribute the qualities that each of his creatures would need in order to survive. With joy in his heart, Epimetheus set out to do his part. To creatures who were slow, he gave strength. To creatures who were weak, he gave great speed. Some creatures he armed with tusks, sharp claws, or stinging tails so that they could defend themselves. To other creatures, he gave either great or small size. To first, to instill the fright, and the second, to avoid detection. When he had assured himself that the land, sea, and air creatures were suitably defended, Epimetheus proceeded to protect them from the hazards of their natural environment: heat, cold, and starvation. Depending upon the climate, he gave them skins of thin leather or of heavy fur. He gave creatures the ability to climb, to dig, or to stalk their food. He proceeded thoughtfully from creature to creature until he had distributed all the qualities that each would need in order to survive upon the earth. He was feeling quite proud of his accomplishments when suddenly he came upon man. Man was naked and defenseless. He, alone of all of Prometheus's creatures, had received no gifts. How would he ever survive? Epimetheus did not know what to do. He stood there gazing at man, hoping that somehow everything would be all right. Prometheus was still standing there when his clever brother joined him. Prometheus had followed Epimetheus and had been very pleased with the distributions his brother had made. However, with one glance, he understood the terrible problem. "There isn't anything left for man, is there?" he questioned softly, trying to remain calm in the face of his tremendous disappointment. Slowly, gentle Epimetheus shook his head, tears welling up in his eyes as he realized the magnitude of his mistake. Of all his creations, Prometheus most loved man. He resolved to do whatever was necessary to ensure man's survival, regardless of the risk to himself. During the next moonless night, the clever Titan stole up to Mount Olympus, home of his cousin Zeus and the other immortal gods. He knew that the Lord of Olympus would not help him. However, he realized that Zeus's children, strong-armed Hephaestus and gray-eyed Athena, would sympathize with him because they, too, were creators. The clever Titan immediately went to their workshop. Even though they feared Zeus's thunderbolts, Hephaestus and Athena risked their great father's wrath in order to help their fellow creator. Silently and secretly, they taught Prometheus their knowledge of arts and crafts so that he, in turn, could impart this knowledge to humankind. As a parting gift, Hephaestus, the lame smith, gave Prometheus fire so that mortals could use their new knowledge. Prometheus returned to Earth to become humankind's great teacher. He taught mortals to understand their environment, to calculate, to read and to write, to build houses and sailing ships, and to tame wild animals for food, labor, and protection. He showed them treasures within Mother Earth: copper and iron, silver and gold. He taught them how, with the gift of fire, mortals could use these treasures to improve and beautify their lives. Thus it was that man, frail as he was, became master of his environment. Once mortals had this knowledge, they became aware of the gods. They worshipped the gods by building altars, by making images, and by offering sacrifices. Then Prometheus became concerned that mortals would give the gods the best fruits of their labors, leaving little for their own uncertain existence. Therefore, the clever Titan designed a scheme whereby mortals would be able to offer pleasing sacrifices to the gods and still eat well themselves. Prometheus carefully carved the carcass of a great ox, dividing the parts into 2 sacrificial piles. Into one pile, he wrapped layers of white fat over the bare white bones of the ox, covering this sacrifice also with oxhide. Then the wily Titan called upon great Zeus, Lord of Olympus, to choose which portion should be for the eternal gods and which portion from humankind. Now continue to the next recording.